He never saw the helicopter. He was unconscious when it landed in the field beside the highway. The crash had crushed his truck 40 miles from the nearest trauma center. A ground ambulance could not get him there in time, so they flew him. 22 minutes in the air, he woke up 2 days later, alive, with a titanium rod in his leg. 6 weeks after, a different kind of impact arrived in the mail. The bill for the flight was $52,000. His insurance paid $8,000. The balance was his. The bill was not a mistake. The air ambulance company was out of network. It had no contract with his insurer, so it set its own price. $52,000 for a 22-minute flight is more than $2,000 a minute. His insurer decided $8,000 was reasonable and paid that. The $44,000 gap landed on him. The industry has a term for this. It is called balance billing. You are billed for the balance. He assumed he was protected. Most people do now. In 2022, a federal law took effect called the No Surprises Act. For years, surprise out-of-network bills had bankrupted patients who did nothing wrong. The law bans balance billing for most emergency care and for out-of-network providers at in-network hospitals. Air ambulances were explicitly included, so he wrote the insurer one line: "The No Surprises Act protects me." The reply explained why, in his case, it did not. His flight had crossed a state line. That mattered. The act protects against balance billing, but the dispute over the actual payment amount goes to arbitration between insurer and provider. The patient is supposed to be out of it, owing only the in-network rate. But the process is slow and contested and routinely produces bills that reach patients while it grinds on. He was told he owed nothing. He was also getting collection notices for $44,000. Here is the part almost nobody knows. The No Surprises Act covers air ambulances. It does not cover ground ambulances. When Congress wrote the law, ground ambulances were deliberately carved out. Most are run by city and county governments under local rate rules, and the lobbying to include them collapsed. So the most common emergency transport in America, the one that picks you up off your own street, is the one where surprise balance billing remains fully legal in most states. The pricing explains why the bills get so large. A large share of the industry is owned by private equity firms. They acquired regional operators, consolidated them, and in many markets chose to stay out of network on purpose. Out of network means no negotiated rate, and the listed charge can be anything. The Government Accountability Office found median prices more than doubled over several years, with many rides billed above $36,000. The patient, unconscious in a field, cannot ask whether the helicopter is in network. There is a second layer of trouble. The Airline Deregulation Act of 1978 prevents states from regulating the prices of air carriers. Courts have repeatedly ruled that air ambulances are air carriers under that law. So for decades, states that tried to cap air ambulance charges were blocked by a 40-year-old aviation statute that had nothing to do with medicine. That preemption is why the No Surprises Act had to step in. He fought the bill and won most of it. He filed a complaint with his state insurance department. He cited the No Surprises Act in every reply and refused to pay collection notices on a bill the law said was not his. After 4 months, the provider and insurer settled. His final responsibility dropped from $44,000 to a few hundred, but only because he knew the law applied to his flight. His neighbor was not so lucky. A different night, a ground ambulance ride of 9 miles to a local hospital. The bill was $1,800. Insurance paid $400. The $1,400 balance was fully legal in their state because ground ambulances are exempt. No arbitration to win, no complaint to file. The law that saved him from a $52,000 flight did nothing for a drive down the same highway. The gap is being studied. A federal advisory committee was created to examine ground ambulance balance billing and recommend whether the protections should be extended. As of now, no national fix has passed. A handful of states wrote their own protections, but they only reach state-regulated plans, not the large employer plans governed by federal law. So whether your ride is protected depends on your state, your plan type, and a committee that is not finished. So what protects you? First, for air ambulances and emergency room care, the No Surprises Act is real and it works, but only if you invoke it. Do not pay a balance bill for emergency care without first checking whether the law applies. Write the words No Surprises Act to your insurer and your state insurance department. The burden of the dispute is supposed to sit with them, not you. Second, know that ground ambulances are the exception. If you get a ground ambulance balance bill, check your specific state law. Some states have banned it, most have not. Either way, call the provider directly and ask for a financial hardship reduction. Many are public agencies with charity policies that are never advertised. The advertised price is rarely the floor. Third, request the itemized bill and the explanation of benefits, and compare them line by line. What the provider charged and what the insurer paid are two different numbers, and the gap between them is where the balance bill lives. If the gap is a No Surprises Act service, it is the insurer's fight. If it is a ground ambulance, it is yours, and you negotiate it like a debt. He keeps the helicopter bill in a drawer, $52,000 for 22 minutes that saved his life. He paid a few hundred because a law happened to cover the transport that picked him up. His neighbor paid $1,400 for 9 miles because no law covered hers. Same highway. Same night, almost. The difference between a ruinous bill and a manageable one was not how badly either was hurt, it was which vehicle arrived. That is the fine print. Before the next one, a quick word. This channel runs on MXEL. Creators earn crypto for the work they already make without selling anything to anyone. If you build things and want to be paid for them directly, it is worth a look. It is at mxe.com.